If you're over 60, I need you to stop what you're doing and listen closely, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you about 7 ordinary, everyday habits that feel completely harmless. Habits you probably did today without a single thought, and yet these very habits may be quietly stealing your energy, your balance, your memory, and even years off your life. And here is the part that should get your attention. Most seniors never realize this is happening until the damage is already done. Not because they're careless, not because they don't care about their health, but because nobody ever warned them. These aren't dramatic mistakes. They're the small, familiar things you do out of comfort, out of routine, out of habit. And that's exactly what makes them so dangerous. I want you to stay with me all the way to the end, because the 7th habit is the one almost nobody talks about, and it may be the one affecting you most right now. Let me say something first, gently but honestly. Your body after 60 is not the same body you had at 40, and that is not a bad thing. It's simply the truth. The way you recover, the way you sleep, the way you process food and water and stress, all of it has changed. But most people keep living exactly the way they always have, using the same routines they built decades ago, never realizing that what once helped them now quietly works against them. That gap, that space between the habits you kept and the body you now have, is where so much unnecessary suffering begins. And the good news, the very good news, is that once you see these habits clearly, you can change them, often quickly, often easily, and the difference you feel can be remarkable. So let's begin with the first one, and I promise you, it's more common than you think. The first habit is sitting too long without moving. Now I know what you might be thinking. Everybody says, sit less, move more. You've heard it 100 times. But here is what most people miss. It's not really about exercise. It's about what happens inside your body during those long, still, unbroken hours in the chair. When you sit for a long stretch, your circulation slows down. Blood begins to pool in your legs. Your muscles, especially the large ones in your thighs and hips, essentially go to sleep. And in an older body, those muscles are already fighting to stay strong. Every hour you sit motionless, you're not just resting. You're teaching your body to weaken. What makes this dangerous is how invisible it is. You don't feel your muscles shrinking. You don't feel your circulation slowing. You just feel comfortable. And then one day you stand up too fast and the room spins, or your knees buckle, or you feel that frightening wobble that reminds you your balance isn't what it used to be. That wobble didn't come from nowhere. It was built, quietly, hour by hour, in the chair. The reason this matters so much is balance and independence. A fall after 60 is not a small thing. It can change your entire life in a single second. And so much of that risk grows from simply sitting too still for too long. But here is the good news, and it costs you nothing. You don't need to run. You don't need a gym. You simply need to break up the sitting. Every 30 to 60 minutes, stand up, walk to the kitchen, walk to the window, march gently in place for a moment, roll your ankles, reach for the ceiling. That's it. These tiny movements keep your blood flowing, keep your muscles awake, and remind your body that it is still alive and still moving. Small breaks, done all day long, protect you far more than one big burst of activity ever could. Now let me ask you something before we move on, and I'd love for you to answer in the comments below. How many hours a day do you think you spend sitting? Be honest with yourself. Just type the number. You might be surprised, and I promise you're not alone. Let's talk about the second habit, and this one hides in plain sight every single morning. The second habit is not drinking enough water. I know, it sounds almost too simple, but listen carefully, because dehydration in older adults is one of the most underestimated dangers there is. Here is something most people never learn. As you age, your sense of thirst fades. Your body actually stops sending you strong signals that it needs water, so you can be genuinely dehydrated and not feel thirsty at all. You feel fine. You feel normal. And meanwhile, deep inside, your body is running low on the one thing it needs most. And what does mild, ongoing dehydration do to a senior? It's not just a dry mouth. It causes confusion. It causes dizziness. It makes you tired in a way that no nap seems to fix. It can cause headaches, constipation, and that foggy, cloudy feeling in your mind where you can't quite think clearly or remember a word that's right on the tip of your tongue. Many older people worry they're losing their memory, worry it might be something serious, when in truth, they're simply not drinking enough water. Think about that. Something as simple as a glass of water, connected to something as frightening as feeling like your mind is slipping. This is where the problem starts to grow, because dehydration also thickens your blood, which puts extra strain on your heart, and it affects your kidneys, which are already working harder as you age. Now, I'm not telling you to suddenly drink gallons of water, and if you have a heart or kidney condition, your doctor may have given you specific limits, so always follow their guidance first. But for most people, the fix is gentle and steady. Keep a glass or a bottle of water within your sight all day long, because you'll drink more when you can see it. Take a few sips every time you pass through the kitchen. Drink a glass with each meal. Don't wait until you feel thirsty, because by then, you're already behind. Sip through the day, slowly and steadily, and watch how much clearer your mind becomes and how much more energy you find. Now here's where it gets interesting, because the third habit involves something you might actually think is good for you. The third habit is skipping meals, especially breakfast, or eating far too little protein. So many seniors eat less as they get older. Sometimes appetite fades. Sometimes cooking for one feels like too much trouble. Sometimes people believe that eating less is simply healthier as you age. But here is the hidden truth. Your body after 60 needs protein more than ever, not less. And when you skip meals or fill up on toast and tea and little else, you're starving your muscles of the very fuel they need to stay strong. Let me explain what's really happening in plain words. After 60, your body naturally begins to lose muscle. It happens to everyone, but muscle is what keeps you standing, keeps you steady, keeps you able to rise from a chair, climb stairs, carry groceries, and catch yourself if you stumble. Muscle is independence, and protein is what your body uses to build and hold on to that muscle. When you don't eat enough of it, your body starts breaking down the muscle you already have, and that decline speeds up quietly, month after month, until one day, simple things feel hard. What makes this so sneaky is that you don't notice it happening. You just slowly feel weaker. You get tired faster. Getting up feels like more effort. And many people blame it on age, when really it's a lack of fuel. Here's the simple correction. Try to include some protein in every meal, not just dinner. Eggs in the morning, a little chicken, fish, beans, lentils, yogurt, or cheese through the day. It doesn't have to be huge portions. It just has to be consistent. And please, don't skip breakfast thinking you're doing your body a favor. After a long night without food, your body is waiting for fuel to start the day strong. Give it something real. Before we go further, let me remind you why I'm telling you all this. Not to frighten you. It's because I believe you deserve to feel strong, clear, and independent for as long as possible. And the habits that stand in your way are so often ones you can fix starting today. So let's keep going, because the fourth one might be sitting on your nightstand right now. The fourth habit is poor sleep, and worse, the way many seniors try to fix it. As you age, sleep changes. You may wake more often. You may sleep lighter. You may find yourself awake at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling. That's frustrating, and I understand. But here is where the real danger enters. Many older adults reach for something to help them sleep, whether it's an over-the-counter pill, an old prescription, or a nightly drink. And some of these can carry serious risks in an aging body. Certain sleep aids, especially some older ones, are linked to next-day grogginess, confusion, and a much higher risk of falls in the night. Some are even associated with memory problems over time. Now, please hear me clearly. I am not telling you to throw away anything your doctor prescribed. Never stop a medication on your own. But I am telling you it is absolutely worth a conversation with your doctor about what you're taking to sleep and whether it's still the right choice for you. Because good sleep matters more than most people realize. It's when your brain clears out waste, when your body repairs itself, when your memory is stored and organized. Poor sleep, night after night, is tied to weaker memory, low mood, higher blood pressure, and that constant, dragging fatigue. What can you do naturally? A great deal, actually. Keep a steady sleep schedule, going to bed and waking at similar times. Get sunlight in the morning, because daylight helps set your body's inner clock. Be careful with caffeine after noon. Keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. And try to wind down without it. These small changes work slowly, but they work deeply, and they carry none of the risks that come with reaching for a pill. Now let's move into the fifth habit, and I'll warn you, this one surprises almost everyone. The fifth habit is staying indoors too much and cutting yourself off from people. Now you might be thinking, how is that a health habit? What does that have to do with my body? Everything. And this is the part most people truly never realize. Loneliness and isolation are not just feelings. They affect your body in real, measurable ways. Research over the years has suggested that ongoing loneliness in older adults can be as harmful to health as some well-known physical risks. It raises stress, it can affect the heart, it's linked to faster memory decline, and it quietly drains the will to stay active, to eat well, to take care of yourself. Think about what happens when someone spends day after day alone indoors. They move less, they talk less, their mind gets fewer challenges, they see less sunlight, which affects mood and vitamin D, and slowly, the world gets smaller. This is where the damage compounds, because a shrinking world leads to a shrinking life, and the body follows the mind downward. But here is the beautiful truth. Connection is medicine, and it's free. A phone call to an old friend, a short walk where you might see a neighbor, a visit to a family member, joining a group, a class, a church, a club, anything that puts you around other human beings. Even a friendly chat with the cashier counts more than you know. Your brain lights up when you connect with others. Your mood lifts, your memory stays sharper, and getting outside gives you sunlight and movement at the same time. If you've been staying in more than you used to, I want you to gently push against that. Reach out to one person today, just one. It matters more than any supplement on any shelf. We're now at the 6th habit, and this one you might be doing several times a day without ever questioning it. The 6th habit is relying too heavily on processed and sugary foods and too much salt. As we get older, cooking can feel harder, and convenience food is everywhere. It's easy, it's quick, it doesn't need much effort. But here's the hidden cost. Many of these foods are loaded with hidden sugar, refined carbohydrates, and very high amounts of salt. And an older body handles all of these differently than a young one did. Let me put it simply. Too much sugar and refined carbohydrate can send your blood sugar on a roller coaster, spiking it up and crashing it down, which leaves you tired, foggy, and hungry again far too soon. Over time, this pattern is tied to inflammation throughout the body, and inflammation is a quiet driver behind so many of the things seniors fear, from joint pain to heart trouble to memory decline. And too much salt raises blood pressure, which strains your heart and your blood vessels and increases risk in ways you can't feel until something goes wrong. What makes this so tricky is that these foods are designed to taste good and to be easy, and they don't announce their danger. You just feel a little more tired, a little more achy, a little more foggy, and you don't connect it to what's on your plate. The fix doesn't mean giving up every pleasure, it means shifting the balance. Lean more on whole foods, real foods, things that don't come in a package with a long list of ingredients you can't pronounce. More vegetables, more fruit in reasonable amounts. Whole grains, good proteins. Cook simply when you can. Season with herbs and spices instead of pouring on salt. And read the labels, because you'll be shocked how much sugar and sodium hides in ordinary items. If you have diabetes, heart concerns, or kidney issues, work with your doctor on the right plan for you, because your needs may be specific. And now we arrive at the 7th habit, the one I told you almost nobody talks about, and I believe it may be the most important of them all. The 7th habit is ignoring the small warning signs your body gives you and telling yourself it's just old age. This is the habit hiding behind all the others. A little dizziness, a new shortness of breath, a change in your memory, a pain that lingers, swelling, unusual fatigue, a fall you never mentioned to anyone. So many older adults brush these things aside, shrug and say, well, I'm just getting old, what can you expect? And that quiet acceptance, that habit of dismissing your own body's signals, can be the most dangerous habit of all. Here is why. Aging itself is natural, but many symptoms are not simply aging. They're your body waving a flag, trying to tell you something needs attention. And catching a problem early, whether it's your heart, your blood sugar, your blood pressure, an infection, or a medication that's no longer serving you, often makes all the difference between a small fix and a serious crisis. When you tell yourself it's just old age and stay silent, you take away your own chance to act, while acting is still easy. I've seen this pattern too many times in principle. The person who felt off for weeks, who noticed something new, who chose not to bother anyone, and who ended up wishing they'd spoken sooner. Please don't let that be you. You are not a bother, your health is not a burden, and your instincts, that quiet voice inside that says something isn't quite right, deserve to be heard and checked. So the correction here is simple but powerful. Pay attention to what changes. Keep track of new or worsening symptoms. Write them down if that helps. And bring them to your doctor rather than deciding on your own that they don't matter. Ask questions. Speak up. Advocate for yourself, because no one knows your body the way you do, and no one will notice the small changes the way you can. Now let me pull all of this together, because I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. 7 habits might sound like a lot to change all at once, and I'm not asking you to. That's not how lasting change works, especially not at any age. What I'm asking is that you pick just one to start with today. Maybe it's standing up more often. Maybe it's keeping a glass of water where you can see it. Maybe it's adding protein to your breakfast, or calling a friend you haven't spoken to in a while, or finally mentioning that symptom you've been quietly carrying. One small change, done steadily, has a way of leading to another, and another, until one day you look back and realize how far you've come and how much better you feel. Because here's the deeper truth I want you to walk away with. Aging well is not about luck, and it's not only about your genes. So much of it comes down to the small, daily, ordinary choices that seem too tiny to matter until you add them up over months and years. The habits that quietly harm you can be replaced by habits that quietly heal you. And it is never, ever too late to begin. Not at 60, not at 70, not at 80 or beyond. Your body is listening to you every single day, responding to how you treat it, and it is far more forgiving and far more capable of improvement than most people believe. Now, I'd truly love to hear from you, and I want you to be honest, even if it stirs up a little disagreement, because that's how we all learn. Out of these 7 habits, which one hit closest to home for you? And here's the part I really want to know. Do you think doctors and family members do enough to warn seniors about these everyday habits? Or do you feel most older adults are left to figure this out completely on their own? Some people insist that seniors are given plenty of good advice. Others feel strongly that they're overlooked and dismissed. I want to hear your side. Share your experience in the comments below, because your story might be exactly what another viewer needs to read today. And if you've ever caught one of these habits early and turned it around, tell us how you did it, because your wisdom could genuinely help someone else who is scared and searching for hope. Before you go, let me leave you with this. You've spent a lifetime taking care of others, working hard, showing up, giving so much of yourself. Now it's time to give some of that same care back to you. You've earned it. You deserve to feel strong, clear, steady, and independent for as many years as possible. And the path there often starts with something as simple as a glass of water, a short walk, or an honest conversation with your doctor. Don't wait for a wake-up call. Let this be your wake-up call, the gentle one, the kind one, the one that comes before anything goes wrong. If this spoke to you, if even one part of it made you stop and think, do me a favor and stay with me. Keep watching, keep learning, keep showing up for yourself, because your best years are not behind you. They can still be ahead, one small, healthy choice at a time. Take care of yourself, my friend. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, be well, stay strong, and never stop believing that your health, your independence, and your golden years are absolutely worth protecting.